Now we're going to talk about the role of social norms in prosocial behavior. So, what we may see is that social norms may help or neither in a positive or a negative way in the likelihood of an individual to help. Some studies of heroic helpers show that they have found that they often identified strongly with a parent who exemplified norms of concern for others. So that is that religion may play a difference in playing or in helping or not helping. So we can see that among college students and the general public, religiously committed individuals are more likely than the less committed to give up time and money to help those in need, according to Colasanto in 1989. So we can see that social norms principally determine helping behavior. So it might be argued that changing norms may decrease bystanderism, be it among cultures. In other news, Stubb in 1983 also carried a study to see if helping behavior could be learned, and he asked some young children to write letters to other children who were in hospital, to tutor adjoining children, or to make toys for chronically ill children. So these children may see what they want to do, and he found that the children he asked were more likely to help were placed in a situation where their help was desired than children who had engaged in similar activities. So it says like making a toy for themselves or studying with his friends. So it shows that they were not helpful with others. So in conclusion, the research indicates that social norms play an important role in prosocial behavior, showing that this this study was important for social norms to be understood in prosocial behavior to lead to how cross-cultural research works on prosocial behavior. So we can see that this type of research has shown that culture does play a role in one likelihood to help or not help in some situations. It can be connected to the structure of the family that have seemed to play a role in this helping behavior. So an important new scene here is the one of Graves and Graves in 1985. So they found that caring for younger children provides a child with considerable opportunities to learn to behave in a prosocial manner. So what it says is that it appears that prosocial behavior can be learned in different environments that models the behavior and has social norms that expect all members of the group to contribute to the common good. So it means that it seems that the social identity theory seen in the socio-cultural level of analysis may play a role in how we determine whether to help someone or not in every culture. So we learn to provide more help to those whom we perceive to be similar to ourselves, principally. Now we can see that the first studies were carried out in 36 cities of various sizes and different regions of US, finding that several people with small and medium-sized cities in the Southwest were most helpful than the residents of large northeastern and west coast cities because they were less likely to help, which means that the best predictor for this helping behavior can be described with the term of population density. Levine found that helping rates tended to be high in countries with low economic productivity, with low gross domestic product per capita, which means that less purchasing power for each citizen. This evidence may indicate that helping tend to be less dependent on the nature of the local people than it is to be on the characteristics of the local environment. So we can, now that we understand what is prosocial behavior and the social norms included in this, we can have some general problems to consider when we're talking about these social norms in prosocial behavior. That is, how does a researcher measure prosocial behavior? So it is important to identify principally which behaviors will be valid in this prosocial behavior that individuals exhibit. Second, can we translate behavior across cultures? So I think this question is very important because some behavior may be different between cultures, like we see in sociocultural level of analysis that among cultures there may be different types of behavior that may consider, some can be considered normal, not normal, and can be studied and treated differently. So can we generalize about an entire culture? So in Levine's conclusions we can see that in spite of general trend, Vienna and Copenhagen appear not to follow the rule. So as each culture is different, also each individual is different in cognitive and biological level of analysis. So it may be generalized but not at all, and it have to be seen in each specific culture to be sure. And can we attribute meaning to a person's refusal to help? So we have to ask, why do some people refuse to help? Like to understand each individual individually, and then finally measure the ecological validity, like if they feel that in which the conducted experiment was more realistic and provides this ecological validity, but there are some uncontrolled variables, which means that it's not possible to establish a real cause and effect relationship. And thank you for listening us. So to conclude this part of social norms in prosocial behavior and bystanderism, we can see that the prosocial behavior is the result of a complex interaction of the environmental and social factors, which is very connected with the sociocultural level of analysis, showing that culture may vary, and also with biological and cognitive level of analysis, which shows that among individuals it also may vary. So it is also clear that the cross-cultural research of helping behavior it is difficult because the bias of the researcher of defining, observing, and interpreting helping behavior that may also vary. Thank you.